That's Ali radiallahu anhu. And they're mentioned in the event, but they don't say this is Ali. Or in hadith, so there's many ayats. In fact, once the Prophet ﷺ says Allah confirmed Umar, because Umar didn't, a couple of things Umar was against. He said, don't pray for that guy. That guy's a hypocrite. So finally Allah reveals the thing, And that happened on a lot of occasions. Not a lot, but several. That's why the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, Umar, Allah confirmed Umar. Not that Allah, needed Umar to tell him what wine did to people. He already, But now here they come into the Prophet, peace be upon him, and they ask him. What the verse says is clear from the translation and its explanation, which follows immediately. It may be added here that the word ithm or sin includes everything that may become a preliminary sin. For instance, one does sentence with that, I'll go on and I'll pass that. But we know they would take lemon juice, honey, and some other stuff and put it in whiskey, and they give it to you to sweat your cold out and cover you up. And they would sweat out your cold, And all old medicines have it. Even the new medicines have an imitation, something or other. But all them medicines, when we come up, man, they was like, the medicines was way stronger than the stuff they had. 666 was strong. Syrup of black trough, man, that stuff. You remember that?
Oh, man, I hate
Good God Almighty, that stuff they don't even have. It used to, you get well now, don't you worry about that. You was gonna be well,
Oh, I'm just thinking about it.
Man, that stuff was serious. But anyway, so the Qur'an says there's some good in it, right? But the bad outweighs the good. That's not the prohibition, because it goes on after that. Those who believe do not go for salat when they are intoxicated. Now let me jump over here. I want to read something about this intoxication. Because it says that, this commentary is a little different. It's actually saying that okay. It will be well noted that drinking had not been clearly identified as something unlawful in this verse, but its evils has certainly been pointed out, which may lead man into many sinful activities. In a way, this takes the form of good counseling urging man to abandon it. That is why soon after the revelation of this verse, some noble companions took this counsel to the Holy Prophet ﷺ so seriously that they stopped drinking then and there. There were some others among them who thought that the verse, in fact, had not declared wine as haram. It had instead identified it as a cause of sin, inasmuch as it does not lead to evils religiously undesirable. So, if they can manage to keep themselves immune from such evils, what harm could there be in continuing drinking? This reminds me of the Negro. Man, smoke is natural as say, yes, those belladonna and all them other poisons, they come out of the ground too, so why don't you take your scoop of that? You know, it's, well now, it said, don't go to prayer with your mind befouled. That's right. Now, suppose I get high after prayer, you know, then by the morning when I wake up, I ain't gonna be high no more. So I just told her, I said, look, if it intoxicates you, if it gets you high, what we recognize as high, the Qur'an and Hadith don't say marijuana is haram. But it uses the term intoxicants. Do you get high? Yeah, well, okay, it's haram. It don't mention heroin, cocaine, crank, it don't mention all that stuff. Is your conscience altered? Yeah, okay. So now it says, consequently, so until the day came when the blessed companions Abdul Rahman ibn Auf invited some of his friends from among the noble companions at his home. When dinner was over, everybody started drinking wine as usual. In the meantime came the sign, the time of Maghrib Salah. Everybody stood up for Salah and selected one of them to lead. The Imam began his recitation from the Holy Qur'an, but drunk as he was, he recited Surah Al-Kafirun wrong. Thereupon, the second step against drinking was taken, and the following verse was revealed. Those who believe do not go near Salah when they are intoxicated. Now remember, gambling, chances, alcohol, is some good in it, but the good outweigh the bad. Now don't go to prayer with your mind before. Let me read this whole little section of this. Drinking was declared to be absolutely unlawful at the time of the Salah. Other times remained open. Some of the noble companions had totally stopped drinking following the revelation of the first verse, deducing from it that something which stops one from Salah cannot hold any good at all. And now the Salah is prohibited in a state of intoxication. One should keep his distance from that which deprives one of Salah. They're making a right if it keeps you from Salah. There's something wrong with it. I don't want that. So a lot of companions, they just stop because of that. However, since wine was not forbidden clearly and explicitly during other hours than those of Salah, there were some who continued drinking during other hours until when there occurred yet another incident. This time it was the blessed companion Itban ibn Malik who invited some companions. Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqas, these big people.
Yeah, the promise of paradise.
Mm-hmm. Was one of them. Once the dinner was over, wine was served in accordance with the custom. Then turning to another customary Arab practice at the time, the intoxicated party started talking poetry and began reciting their respective accomplishments and excellences. The companion Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqas radiallahu anhu recited a qisada, or qasida, that's a poem, in which he satirized the Ansar, helpers of Medina, and eulogized his own tribal affinities. This made the Ansari young man angry, and he hit Sa'id ibn Abi Waqqas with the jawbone from a camel, causing severe injury in his head. He did what niggas do, busted him upside the head.
Exactly what I was thinking.
You gotta remember now, a camel's jawbone, that's like a weapon. You know, especially if it's still got the teeth in it. It's a weapon. So they talking trash, laying back, you know, just like, does it sound like Negroes or doesn't it? They playing in dozens, and they drunk, you know what I mean? And so they talk like, yeah, I got my girl over there, she the prettiest girl in the world. Then all the ugly girls is over there, they belong to that tribe. It's the same, you know. Man, them are some bears, they the ugliest children I ever seen in my life. Bop, bop, bop. So, what I'm trying to do is show you the contrast, or the continuity between us and them, because we're humans and they're humans. And also a part of prohibitions, for instance, when we work with other people, right? When we work with other people, there's a focus. Our focus in working with them is very simple. Our focus is that we want to influence the direction of change. We want to make a better America. You know what I mean? No, a better world. A better world. So this is our goal. This is technically what we're working toward, to influence the direction of change in the world, and the Western world. We want to combine combinations of history, religion, sociology, psychology, motivation, inspiration, science, all of those things, behaviorism, economy, industry, human relations. We want to combine all of those things to make America better. I didn't bring it, but I had one of the commentary that talked about, let's see. In regard to this, our traditions in wording to the effect, kill the sodomite and the object of sodomy, whether they are married or unmarried, stone to death the upper one and the lower one, both of them, kill them, that's what it said. But no definite and specific punishment was prescribed for the criminals, because during the time, no case of sodomy was ever brought to the Prophet ﷺ. So during the Prophet's time, no one was ever brought before the Prophet. You can imagine. So there are, however, some traditions from his successors regarding this. Habib Ali radiallahu anhu was of the opinion that the criminals should be killed with a sword, and the dead body should not be buried but burnt to ashes. Now the hadith do say don't burn nobody, because that's stuff left up to Allah. It's a long story. But Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu also agreed with it. Umar and Uthman of the opinion that they should be taken under the roof of a dilapidated building and it should be pulled down on them. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu had decreed, I meant to read this after that, but we might as well, we're going on with it, so we might as well. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu has decreed that they should be thrown down headlong from the top of the highest building, of the habitation and then stoned to death. Imam Shafi says that both the camels, the criminals involved in sodomy, should be killed, whether married or unmarried. According to Shibli, Zuri, Malik, and Ahmed, they should be stoned to death. Sa'id ibn Musayyib, Atta, Hassan Basri, Ibrahim Nakik, Sufyan al-Thawri, these are all big people, and Al-Za'i, of the opinion that the punishment is the same as for adultery, that is 100 stripes and exile for the unmarried. So I read that because if we're working to make America a better place, right? But right now, suppose, in fact, I saw something on TV the other day, they had something about, did you see that?
No.
About how the people in drag.
Oh, yeah.
Dragnificent.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a commercial. It's a commercial.
Commercial.
No, it's like a dragnificent. You know, it have all the people in drag. We're going to make you fine. And the people, half of them, don't look that bad. They look. So it's dragnificent. That's what they call it. It's almost like a commercial. So now I want you to imagine. I want to show you the history. I want to show you all this so it'll be understood that we are not trying to avoid anything under the conditions that we're living under. We're not trying to avoid this, but if we're trying to make America better, we got two things we're working on. America and then the Muslim world. Well, the Western world and the Muslim world. For the Muslim world, we would want Islam light. What is Islam like? Believe it or not, Islam light is like what they have in Iran. You know why? Because during the early days of the revolution, when I was in Iran, driving down the street, they said, do you know what that sign means? I said, yeah. It says, Bag, be hijab. Death to those without hijab. They had committee going around, and if you didn't have your hair covered, they would deal with you. Okay, that was 40 years ago, 41 years ago, and it lasted for about maybe 10 years. Yeah. So music was hard. Then they began to loosen up. First they loosened up with earphonic music. You know, earphonic music like Sufi type. That's Irfan and Shiism and Sufism. That type of music. Then cultural, you know, the cultural music. Of course, that would be jazz and all that. They may not like no hip hop, but jazz and spirituals and all that they did. So, then if you look, every time we go to Iran, we would see the scarf. First they start letting a little bit of hair out, right there, just a little bangs. Maybe 5 strands of hair, that's all. Then, a little bit more. And as years, as we go back now, the girls got their hair back, some in full niqab. But in those days, women, they'd have all their hands full, they'd have their chador in their mouth and holding that boy, they'd be, you know, getting down. So, what they have now, it sounds strict and serious to the people in the West, but it's a relaxed environment. So, in some parts of the cities and different cities, if you're in northern Tehran, where the rich Jewish people live, they want to let you know that I don't like this Islam. So the women, they always live there. And the south side, the people wear more seriously good hijab. You know. In the north, they almost now doing the Pakistani style, almost like throwing it back. They don't throw it back, they might leave just a little something. But you can see their hair and everything. That's Islam light. Iran went backwards. It went with everybody goose-stepping with attention, and then it moved back to a good level of Islam, where you're not forced. Remember free will? Although we're Muslims, to tell the truth, we would like to live in a society, mostly, that the people do right because they want to do right. That's the optimum society. And I believe that's the way it is in here. Well, I see that's the way it is. I'm certain I look at it all the time. That's the way it is. That's what we call Islam light. Not like certain places. People wear full niqab, and you go to certain countries, and they'll bust you upside the head with them long sticks if you don't. They making you go pray. You know what I mean? And even in the Hajj, you see the people that got them big sticks, boy, they'll wear you out. Okay. They got people here praying, they got knots on their head almost. You walk by them and they'll frown up at you like I don't know what. And then being colored, you'll be wanting to say, hey man, ain't nobody scared of you or nothing like that. But see, if you got a whole body, the preponderance of evidence of Qur'an and Hadith is to be kind and loving and friendly. It says do right all over and over and over again. If you search out and you could find one hadith, or 2 or 3 at the most, that say something like it'll be 72 groups, 73, all of them going to hell, stuff like that. Except those that follow